I told this guy where I was from. He said, "Oh, Canada." Kinda laughed it off. Real funny, huh? Yeah.
What's up, everybody? I am back for episode 3 of the Frostback MMA podcast. I'm Josh LeDuc, your host, the Canadian sensation, and I'm here today with my UFC 166 full card breakdown and picks. Everybody said, "Why aren't you doing the prelims, the Facebook prelims?" I know you did it a lot with Dissension MMA. Sorry, guys, I was short on time last time for the Ultimate Fight Night 29, but I'm back to rectified, and I'm just going to go quickly through the Facebook prelims, and then we'll go into more depth in the regular TV prelims and the main card. So going through it, first fight is the bantamweights, Dustin Page versus Horiguchi, new fighter. He's like 12-0 coming out of Japan. I got Horiguchi. Then we got in the featherweight division, Larson versus Feely. Going to be a great fight. I just want to make one point here. Feely, this looks unstoppable on the regional circuit. He's like a Tachi Palace champion. He fights out of Team Alpha Male with Dwayne Bang Ludwig, who I'm still considering undefeated because of that BS split decision win for Sun Sao. We'll get into that later. Next, in the lightweight division, we have Ferguson versus Rio. I got Ferguson. Oh yeah, and featherweight, I did pick Feely. Not sure if I said that. Anyways, welterweight, Walderberger versus Amagov. I'm going to take Amagov. Anyways, that's just a quick rundown of who I have in the Facebook prelims. And I'm going to get into more detail right now in the live TV prelims on Fox Sport 1. So, our first fight on the TV is George Soteropoulos, not a dinosaur, shout out to Ryan, versus KJ Nunes, a former Strikeforce challenger, Elite XC guy. Both guys been around the sport a long time. G-Sod is a great jiu-jitsu guy, but he's been on a skid lately, losing 3 or 4 in a row. I think he's 1-3 or 1-4 in his last 5 fights. And he loses a lot by knockout, which brings me to KJ Nunes. I mean, he's not the most well-rounded striker. He's a good boxer, decent kicks, not very good on the ground, as we saw Cowboy Cerrone manhandling him on the ground, which is kind of surprising because, I mean, Cowboy's got some good jiu-jitsu off his back, but he's never been known for his takedowns, and he's took down Nunes multiple times. But my money here, although I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, would be on Nunes, seeing as G-Sod doesn't have great takedowns and he is susceptible on the chin. Not to mention, he looks like he's 90 years old. So I'm taking Nunes by way of knockout, and G-Sod's going to be out of the UFC, which is sad because I like him. But anyways, next fight, women's bantamweight division, we got Sarah Kaufman versus Jessica Ai. Hot prospect. Number 2 ranked 125-pound woman in the world versus number 2 ranked 135-pound woman in the world, Sarah Kaufman. Sarah Kaufman, original Strikeforce women's 135-pound champion, I think. I know she was the champion. I'm pretty sure she was the original. And she's fought the best of the best. And she's done pretty well. I mean, the big story in this fight is Ai is a 125-pound fighter. And it's going to be interesting to see her fight up against one of the top women in the world in 135. She will have a speed advantage, but she will be vastly undersized in this fight. And I want to say Ai's going to win because, I mean, we've seen her in Bellator doing well. But I got Sarah Kaufman, the veteran, great striker. She's been around the sport for a long time. Like I said, first Strikeforce women's bantamweight champion. So I got my money on Sarah Kaufman. Next fight, very interesting in the welterweight division. We got Nate the Great Marquardt versus Hector Lombard. Both these men, originally middleweights. I think Hector Lombard fought at 205 in his first couple fights too, so it's going to be crazy to see how this fight's going to go, seeing him at 170. I think he's teamed up with Mike Dolce for this, which is going to be good for him because he needs to get his first weight cut down really well. I'm sure he's done test weight cuts and such, but you don't really know how you're going to perform unless you get in the octagon and fight at 170. So this is a tough fight for me. Loser probably leaves town. Definitely in Marquardt's case, seeing as Dana White doesn't like him. And he's gotten knocked out in his last fight. And then the fight before that, he lost to Tarek Safadine in the welterweight championship for Strikeforce. And Lombard is coming off a coming off a decision loss to Yushin Okami, which is respectable. He came back in that third round, could have knocked out Okami, but instead he jumped into the half guard of Okami, which was kind of stupid. And Okami took the decision. Before that, he knocked out Husamar Paul Harris. Anyways, he's like 1-3 in his last 4 fights, if not 1-2 in his last 3 fights. So I think, seeing as this is his first fight in the new weight class, even if he loses, he'll probably be safe for one more fight, seeing as the UFC brought him over from Bellator. He was so hyped. And I mean, there's always that first trial run in that weight class, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets cut if he loses that fight, not when he wins. I actually have him picked to win. Seeing as Nate the Great doesn't have the greatest chin, and I mean, we saw that in the Jake Ellenberger fight. He got lit up. And Hector Lombard, in my opinion, more well-rounded than Jake Ellenberger, just because he has more submissions off the ground, whereas Jake is more of a power wrestler with the hands. Hector is he's more technical on the feet. He's got great judo. He's a judo black belt, and he was a Olympian for Cuba, I believe. If not, he was a Cuban national champion. And on top of that, crazy power. The only thing that worries me here is how will the weight cut affect Lombard. We've seen Nate Marquardt make it a couple times before. It hasn't gassed. He went 5 rounds against Tarek Sapedi, and I mean, that's pretty much it. I got Lombard by way of knockout just because Nate the Great is kind of getting washed up and he can't take a punch anymore. Middleweight division, Tim Boesch versus CB Dollaway. CB Dollaway is, I don't want to say a gatekeeper because he's probably right below that. I wouldn't give him so much credit to give him a gatekeeper because Boesch is definitely the ultimate gatekeeper in middleweight. Him and Costa Philippou. But it's going to be a great battle between heavy-handed Boesch, pretty good wrestling, not the best, against CB Dollaway. He's got notable wins over Mayhem Miller. I believe he fought Jake Shields. A couple great guys in middleweight. So I honestly see this going no other way than a knockout for Tim Boesch. I love CB Dollaway. He's a great grinder, but I don't see him doing that to Boesch, especially after that pretty bad defeat at Munoz's hands. I think he's going to be pretty hyped up to get in the win column again. Next fight, flyweight division. Everybody's saying, oh my god, John Dodson, who are you fighting? This Montague guy. For those of you who don't know, Montague is one of the best flyweights in the world. He's actually on a 4 or 5 fight win streak right now. And if he gets past Dodson, I would definitely give him a #1 contender fight against the loser of Benavidez versus Mighty Mouse. So this is saying if he gets past Dodson, and it's going to be a tough task if Dodson is great power, he's super fast, great striking, great cardio. His wrestling's getting up there, but in the end, I see Dodson kind of taking it away, probably TKO 3rd round, just because Montague's probably going to have those UFC jitters. UFC's fought a lot in Shudo, Tachipala, some of those respectable regional promotions where some of the best, especially in the lighter weight classes, compete. But I just think those UFC jitters are going to be too much. I mean, Dodson's already fought for his first UFC championship, and that was a pretty close fight against Mighty Mouse. But I got Dodson taking it by 3rd round TKO. Next fight, heavyweight division, Gabriel Gonzaga Napao versus Sean Jordan. Going to be a great fight. In this fight, you really got to watch out because Gonzaga sometimes has been known to kind of get knocked out easily, and Jordan has tons of power in his hands. We saw him knock out Pat Barry recently, and Gonzaga is coming off that fast knockout win over Dave Herman. Yeah, so I mean, both men, great strikers. We saw Gonzaga knock out Krokop, one of the best knockouts in the heavyweight division. Very, very exciting fight. But Gonzaga is more well-rounded. He's got good wrestling. He's got great Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I think Jordan, he does have a really good chance of knocking out Gonzaga. This was a really close fight for me to pick. But when you have a fight this close, you got to go with the veteran in Gonzaga just because he's been around. He's fought Randy Couture. He's fought Mirko Krokop back in close to his prime. And sure, he got knocked out by Travis Brown, but Travis Brown is on a hot streak. And those elbows were somewhat questionable. I mean, I'm not saying get it overturned, but it's a close fight either way. So I'm thinking Gonzaga is going to come in, either grind out the decision or possibly get a submission win, because I don't see him knocking out Jordan. I don't see him staying on the feet long enough to take the risk of getting caught with a big punch. So I'd say Gonzaga probably all 3 rounds, maybe 29-28 unanimous decision. Sorry, guys. Anyways, we're all into the lightweight fight here. For me, I don't see why this match was made, except for it's going to be a great fight for the fans. Ranking-wise, it makes no sense against Diego Sanchez, who's coming off a very, very controversial split decision win over Takanori Gomi. Honestly, in my books, he's basically coming off a loss because Gomi totally won that fight in my eyes. Melendez is, another very controversial decisions. You talk about all these crappy decisions. I thought Melendez beat Ben Henderson in their last fight. Sure, he got beat up on the leg kicks and stuff, but I thought he won. So you got the number 2 ranked guy in the world probably at lightweight taking on somebody who's not ranked in Diego Sanchez and someone who failed to make weight last time. So I don't really see why this fight's put together. And Sanchez, he's been around forever. He's got great striking. He's pretty good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu. I just think Melendez is a little bit better in every area. He's got better wrestling, better striking, better jiu-jitsu, training with Cesar Gracie and such. So I really see this fight being Melendez's to lose. So if he gets cocky, comes in there out of shape or something, which I doubt he will do, he's hungry for that title fight again. But I can see Sanchez winning with a lucky punch or something, but everybody's got a puncher's chance. So I think Melendez is going to take this second round TKO. Just my opinion. Anyways, this fight right here in the heavyweight division practically should be, I would have made it a catch weight at like 220 or something, because both these guys seem like they're going down to 205. Cormier says, win or lose, he's going down to 205, and he's after John Jones. Roy Nelson looks awesome. He's lost a lot of weight, looks thin. We saw him in a couple pictures with, I forget who it was, some little no-name reporter. And, what am I talking about? I'm a no-name reporter. Anyways, we got Nelson looking slim, and Cormier talking about taking off the weight slowly to go down to 205 and maybe an immediate title shot against Jones. But with the way the division's stacking up, I believe he's going to have another fight. So in here, the big factors here are Nelson's one-punch knockout power and Cormier's fantastic wrestling. We saw him grind out a win against Frank Mir, and we've also seen Roy Nelson lose to Frank Mir. But I think it's a very different Frank Mir these two men fought. Frank Mir obviously is on like a 3-fight losing streak now. When Roy Nelson fought him, he was coming off that knockout win over Mirko Krokop. He was starting to build back momentum for another title shot, and he lost by decision to a pretty in shape and ready to go Frank Mir. So I really think that Cormier, though his grappling is fantastic, his submissions aren't there, and I'm not sure how his submission defense is because we've only seen him against like Jeff Munson and Antonio Silva, who aren't known for having great guards. Neither is Roy Nelson, but Roy Nelson is a big dude, and he's sprawled some great takedowns. He's a black belt under Renzo Gracie, so I'm not sure if Cormier is going to try to take it to the ground. I mean, he's got good boxing, but again, standing with Roy Nelson is not smart either, especially when he can knock you out in no time. But I think he's going to try to grind him out just like he did Frank Mir, and Cormier's been ready for this. In his recent interview, he's like, somebody asked Nelson what his strategy was, and he said to not let Cormier hook me. So I think he's going to be ready, popping out that jab, and I think eventually he's going to catch Cormier with that big right hand and probably put his lights out. That's me taking the underdog, which is odd because I really don't like Roy Nelson. He's normally out of shape. He's a funny dude, yeah, but I never thought of him as a top contender. But if he takes off some of this weight, maybe go down to 205, he's definitely a strong fighter. I mean, he needs to start utilizing his grappling a lot, which I don't think we're going to see in this fight, seeing as Cormier's a U.S. Olympian for wrestling. But again, like I said, I think that big right hand is going to land, and it's going to shut out the lights of Cormier, and he's going to add the first loss to Cormier's record. So you heard it here, underdog, me actually picking Fatty Roy Nelson, which is really surprising. So now we got the trilogy fight, main event, Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos. Going to be a great fight. I'm doing breakdowns for all the main card and the Morcourt Lombard card on Pro MMA now. You can see my in-depth thoughts and who's the better striker, grappler, submission, and the X factors for a lot of these fights and writing at ProMMA.com. But I'll give you guys a quick rundown. I think this is a really close fight. JDS is a great striker. He's got his black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. Fun fact, Cain just got his black belt in Jiu-Jitsu under Leonardo Vieira, one of the greatest black belts right now. He's the brother of Rodolfo Vieira and another great world champion in Jiu-Jitsu. So I think this is an era where we're going to see more of the submission game coming out of Cain Velasquez. You look at fighters like Josh Barnett with the great wrestling and the submissions. He's a catch wrestler, obviously not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I think Cain Velasquez can implement a similar style because Cain's got great hands and fantastic takedowns. And once he gets you to the ground, he's got great ground and pound, and all he really needs to do is add in a devastating submission game, and this guy's completely unstoppable. Whereas we have JDS, fantastic striker. We've seen him take down Shane Carwin, who's a Division III. He's a Hall of Famer in the Division III, and I think he was a 4-time national champion at the D3 level, which is not anywhere near Cain Velasquez, but, I mean, he's a big 250-pound gorilla. And with great wrestling and great hands, if you can take this guy down, you can probably take down the majority of the people in the heavyweight division, except Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez is always going to be the exception there. I don't think we're going to see Cain on his back. And the real question is, how is Junior's guard? Because in the last fight, we saw him get completely beat down on the fence, on the ground, on the feet, but we never saw him, Cain, in Junior's guard. We saw him half guard, side control, scrambling, in a lot of the clinch positions. But we still have that big question. Can he lock on triangles, arm bars, omoplatas? Is he quick? Can he sweep? We really got to see how his hips are on the ground. And against a fantastic wrestler like Cain, who just got his black belt, it's going to be really, really intriguing. Through my eyes, as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, it's going to be even more intriguing. But I think on the ground, we obviously have to give Cain the advantage because he's got the national wrestling champion. He actually didn't win the championship, but he was a 4-time All-American, and he's got this fantastic wrestling. Add in that black belt, I think he's going to nullify Junior's submission game. But the big question here is how fast can Junior get up off the mat, get his butt up to the fence, scooch up. And we saw in the first round, it was pretty good. I mean, he was quick off the ground, and he was really explosive. And, I mean, we'll see if he can do that again against Cain. And going back to the first fight, I mean, we saw the first fight for me is really hard because, yeah, he knocked out Cain. But in my eyes, I see the 5-round decision being more weighted against Junior than that knockout is against Cain, because if you can dominate someone for 25 minutes, that's more impressive to me than knocking someone out with a flash punch right behind the ear in the temple. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. It's always going to be a factor that JDS can end the fight in no time, and we saw that with Mark Hunt. His striking's getting more diverse. I mean, he's adding in more Muay Thai, Taekwondo style kicks, but he's always going to be primarily a boxer, which is kind of the same with Velasquez, but he does throw in some great body kicks. This is a really close fight, but I'm giving it to Cain. I think he's going to grind out another decision. I'm not sure if he's going to hurt Junior as bad as he did this time, or I'm not sure if he's going to hurt Junior as bad this time as he did in the second fight, but I think this is kind of Cain's fight to lose because I give him an edge in every category except for the striking. Junior's obviously got the edge there, but I think he's going to come forward. He's going to be aggressive. He's ready for this. He doesn't want to lose his belt again, and I don't know. I don't see Junior winning this fight. Anyways, guys, check out the rest of my videos. Stay tuned for more. I love that I'm actually getting some likes and dislikes on my videos. And if you guys don't agree with what I'm saying, feel free to put it in the comment section. I'm never going to be like, oh, you're an idiot, unless you're a complete idiot. But again, I'm going to be respectful to your guys' opinions. I just want to know what you guys think. Know what you guys think of me, my predictions, and I mean, it all comes down to Saturday night, who's going to win, and we'll see. I may be completely screwed over here. I may get every single one of these wrong, but history shows I'm pretty good with these predictions. So again, like, comment, subscribe, check out my sponsors, Enzo Kimonos, Endless MMA, and check out Positive Plus Outfitters. they're on Facebook now, just Positive Plus with the addition sign. So again, you're watching Frostback MMA. I'm the host, Josh Leduc, the Canadian sensation. I will see you guys next time.
Come on. 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Yeah.